Hi soulmates, welcome back again to my channel. I'll be sharing a lovely tutorial on how I made this beautiful dress you are seeing on the screen. This is a monostrap dress with bell sleeves and gathers. If this is something you like, please keep on watching, like and subscribe. Also share to your friends and other soulmates. Now let's get started. Now these are the materials I'll be working with. I have 6 yards of Ankara fabric and 1.5 yards of crepe here. Now I've gone ahead to fold my fabric this way and I'm marking a starting line here. This is going to serve as my starting line or the shoulder line. From these lines, I'll be taking all my other body measurements. Now I'm coming down by my bust point, that is the bust point of my client, which is 9 inches. I came down also by the under bust of 12.5 inches and I'm making a mark there. So next I'll be coming down by the waist measurement. That's the waistline, which is 15 inches. And I'll also make this mark here. Now I will use my straight ruler to connect. First of all, I'm connecting my bust point. Next, I'm connecting the under bust, and this is the half length. That is the waistline that I'm connecting right now. So from the waistline, I'm going to be taking the waist to the hip measurement of 8 inches. Now I'll mark 8 inches from the waist and I'll use my straight ruler also to connect this point. So this is what I have so far. I have my shoulder line, the bust line, the under bust line, and the hip line. So for the basque, we'll be coming back to that later. Now, from this folded part, the part closer to me is my folded part. I went in by half of my shoulder measurement of 7 inches. And also, I marked the neck width. I'm working with a neck width of 3 inches. So at that shoulder point, I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And I'll be slanting this to the tip of my neck width this way, as you can see. So next, I'll be marking the armhole. So to get the armhole line, you're going to be dividing the bust measurement by 6 and you'll be adding extra 1.5 inches to that. So this is what I have. I marked it there. So I'm also measuring what I have at the shoulder just for me to have a straight line. I'll mark it same place at that armhole and I'll be connecting this way. So this is to get a straight line. As you can see, I'm extending this armhole this way, as you can see, guys. So what I have here, I'm just trying to confirm what I have at the shoulder measurement. Now to get the armhole curve, we're going to be dividing this armhole here, what we have at the armhole, divide it by 2 this way, and from that point you'll be going in by 0.5 inches. Now at this line here, the chest line or the armhole line, we're going to be taking the bust measurement divided by 4. We'll mark it right there, and now we'll be taking the armhole curve. So we're going to be connecting these 3 points together. That is from the shoulder slope to the 0.5 inches that we came in by and the bust measurement. So this is how um connecting these points together to get the armhole curve. So this is what I have after connecting. As you can see, this is the armhole curve. Now, this is the waistline that I'm touching right now. I'll go ahead and divide the waist circumference by 4 and I'll also make a mark there at this point now. So where I marked earlier is the under bust. It is not the waist. It was a mistake. So I'll go ahead and connect from my bust now to the new waist measurement that I just marked. Next, I'll be taking the hip measurement divided by 4. I'll make a mark there and I'll connect from the waist to the hip with my curve this way. Now this is what I have, as you can see. Now going in by the nipple to nipple measurements, I'm working with the nipple to nipple measurement of 7 inches. I'll divide that by two. I have 3.5. I'll mark 3.5 from the center. I'll mark at the bust line, the waistline, and also at the hip line. And I'll be connecting this into a straight line this way with the straight part of my ruler. At the waistline, that is this line now, I'll be going out of this line by 0.5 inch on both sides, taking a dart of 1 inch. So I'll go out on both sides of this line by 0.5 inches, and I'll be connecting it this way. But first of all, at this bust point, I'll be coming down by 1 inch because I wouldn't want to connect the dart to the bust point. So just come down by 1 inch, and you'll be slanting this to the 0.5 inches that you have marked on both sides. So this is how it looks like. So this is what I have. Now I'm connecting it to the hip point, but then from this hip point, I'll be going up by 2 inches. Just go up by 2 inches or 2.5 from the hip point, and also you'll be slanting this to meet it at that point. So this is what mine looks like. This is what you should have. So I took out a dart of 1 inch. As you can see, just measure what you have there. And now I'll be replacing this dart on this waistline this way, because when we cut this out, or when we take this dart out while sewing, we would not want to have shortage. So just go ahead and replace it this way, as you can see me do in the video. After replacing, you just have to connect just the way I connected this way. Now I'll be adding a sewing allowance. I'm not doing too much. I'm adding sewing allowance of 1.5 inch, sorry, 1 inch, just 1 inch, because this fabric is a little bit stretchy. You don't need too much allowance. Now I just added 1 inch, and I'm just connecting this way. Now I added 1 inch to the bust, to the waist, and also to the hip measurements, and I'm connecting this way. Always use the curvy parts to connect your hip. Now I've not done anything for the neck yet. Now we're going to be working on the basque area of this dress. Now this is the waist to the hip. Now, like, remember I came down by 8 inches for the hip point. Now at that point, I'm just marking 5 inches from the waist. I'm just taking 5 inches. I made a mark there. And then from the hip point, I'm coming down by about 3 inches because I want the basque. You can see from the inspiration, the basque is a really long one. So from that 5 inches that I came down by, that is from the waist to 5 inches, I'll be connecting to this new point of 3 inches that I just marked, because I want the basque to be really long, as we have in the inspiration that we are following. If I had connected it to that is the hip line there, it would be really short. So that was why I came down by 4 inches to have a really long basque effect. So this is what I have, as you can see. This is what I have. I have not done anything for the neck. Yes, remember. So this is what I have. Now I'll be cutting this out. I'll use my scissors to cut this out. Now this is the front part, and this is what it is looking like. Here is the neck width. I measured 3 inches for the neck width, so I'm just giving it a notch here, so that by the time I open up, I will be able to find it easily. So this is what I have, just a little cut over there. Now when I open this up, I will use my chalk to, from that I'll just trace this out. I'll just trace out the notch this way, the both notch on this side. This will guide while I want to cut out the neck. Now looking at the dress that we are recreating, you can see that the side that has a full shoulder is on the left side. So I'm just trying to locate the left side of this dress. So once I've gotten the left side, I'll just come down by about 6 inches. This is how deep I just want this neckline to be. And now I'm connecting from this edge now to that 6 inches point. Now what I have at this armhole, I wanted to like connect directly into the armhole, but I know I decided to divide what I have at the armhole by two. I marked there, and I'm just using my freehand curve to curve to that 6 inches mark, and I'll just cut this off. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead and refold this because I'll be using this to cut out the pack pattern. Now I'll go ahead and fold another piece of fabric. I'll be using it to cut out the back. Now after folding, I'll make sure I have my zip allowance. I'm adding a zip allowance of 1.5 inches. So after folding the fabric for the back, I'm gonna head to mark a starting line here. This is also going to serve as the shoulder line. Next, I will go ahead and mark a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. I'll mark and connect into a straight line. Then I'll bring in the front pieces, I'll place it on it, and I will trace it out. I will trace out all these sides. I'll trace out these sides, the armhole and the shoulder. Note I'm not tracing out the monostrap thing that I did on the shoulder. I'm just cutting this out straight, and also the shoulder slope this way. So after cutting, this is what I have. I had to open up this zipper part because it is on a fold, as you can see. So this is what I have, as you can see. Next, I'll pick up my tracing wheel. I'll be tracing out the darts on this pattern because I want the darts to, this is the center front. I want the darts to reflect at the other side of the front and also at the back. So I'm using my tracing wheel to trace this out. And after tracing, I'll pick up my chalk, and I'll be using the chalk to mark out all that I have traced with the tracing wheel. So the tracing wheel helps to like know how, where to take your darts when you're ready to sew on your sewing machine, because you don't have to be marking again. So just trace out where your darts are supposed to be, so that when you, after tracing, you will just use your chalk and ruler to mark again. So this is what I have for the front, and this is what I have for the back, as you can see. So I'll be placing it this way, right sides facing each other. So I decided to hold down the zipper parts first of all with pins before placing the front part on it. Now after holding with pins, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and place the front parts of this pattern on it this way before cutting out the mono strap, because I want this to be together. So just go ahead and align this properly, then you cut out the mono strap. Next, I'll be taking in the darts. So I'll take in the darts for both the front and the back pieces, and I'll bring it back to show you what I have. So this is what I have. After taking in the darts, you can just go ahead and press this neatly. This is for the front and the back. Now, this is the back pattern. This is the back bodies. You're going to be taking out zip bulge. So from the shoulder, that is the tip of the shoulder right there, you're going to be measuring down to the waist. That is from the shoulder to the waist. So I'll go ahead and mark what the measurement I'm working with is. I'm working with 15 inches. So I'll make a mark there, and from this point I'm just going in by 0.5 inch, and I'll be slanting this to the tip of the neckline, and I'll also slant this to the end of the dress, to the end of this dress, as you can see. So this is just to take out any form of zipper bulge on the dress. Sorry that my chalk is not really visible at this point, but just go ahead and take out 0.5 inch from your waistline at the back, that is at the zip allowance, to prevent every form of zipper bulge. Now you go ahead and cut this off. So after cutting, what you'll be doing next is to be marking your actual zip allowance. Now we are going to be marking 1.5 inches for the actual zip allowance. So from the top here, go ahead and mark 1.5 inches till you get to the end, following this shape that you have, this new shape that you have. Remember that after taking out 0.5 inches from the center there, it is no longer straight. So you're just going to be following the shape you have to take out any form of zipper pouch there. And at this line, just go ahead and close it down. This is where you'll be attaching your zipper when the time comes. So close it down and iron it flat this way. And once you are done closing and ironing, you're just going to be closing this shoulder. So this is what I have. As you can see, I've gone ahead to iron this out, iron the darts out. I've also joined this at the shoulder, that is one shoulder. I've also closed down the zipper part. As you can see, this is what I have. I also ironed it flat. Guys, if you have watched up to this point, please hit on the like button and subscribe. Thank you. So next, I'll go ahead and measure around this armhole. I'll be cutting my sleeve next. So what I have, I'll take note of that. Now I folded my fabric into four. I first of all made a fold into two, and I also folded, giving me a total fold of four. This is what I'll be using to cut out the sleeve. Now I've gone ahead to mark a straight line here, which is going to serve as my starting line. So from that line, I just came down by the cap's height. So to get the cap's height, just divide your bust measurement by 12. You're going to add 1 inch to that. Now the next measurement I'm marking is the sleeve length plus folding allowance. So at this cap's height line, just go ahead and place the measurement you have around the armhole of your dress. So once you are done with that, you're going to replace the cap's height measurement that you have here. So I have 3.5 inches. I placed it there and I made a mark. So I'm placing it at that mark. I'm getting the midpoint. I'll just make another mark here, and I'll connect from this point to meet the midpoint, and I'll just curve out my armhole this way. I hope you understand. The chalk is somehow too faint, and I did not realize that it was not showing too much. So what I got here, the hem of my sleeve, I have 10 inches. So that is how wide this sleeve is. So from that armhole point, I'm just going to connect this into a slant, and I'll be cutting it out. So guys, this is what I have for the bell sleeve. After cutting, I'll just go ahead and give here a notch. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead and pick up one of this sleeve, and I'll be fixing it to the part that has a shoulder. Now bring in the pieces I'm working on, and I'll be fixing one of the sleeve to this part that has this shoulder. I'll just stitch it down. And for the other side that do not have a shoulder, please watch closely to see how I will be doing that. Remember that before cutting out the monostrap for the front part, I did divide what I have by the armhole by 2, and I just cut it out. So that is the same thing I'll be cutting out. So what I divided by 2. I think I did 3.5. So I'm just cutting out 3.5 from this sleeve, and I'm giving it this notch here. And this is how I'll be fixing it to my dress. So I'm fixing it this way, making sure that these curves that are aligning, I'll go ahead and fix it this way, as you can see. So you will do the same for the two sides, just align the curve. So this is what my sleeve looked like after fixing. So guys, the next thing we'll be working on is the cape that is on the neckline of this dress. So I'll bring in this piece that I had already cut out. It is really long, so just go ahead and measure around this where you want the cape to be. So the width of this cape is 8 inches. After folding, we'll have 4 inches. So just go ahead and fold and press this properly. Next, you're going to be folding this into 2, and you'll be notching the middle. Now this is what I have. I'll go ahead and make a notch. Okay, there's already a notch there. That is the middle part of the off shoulder sleeve part. So I'll place this cape here on that notch at the off shoulder part of the sleeve. I'm going to be pinning it down because that is where the cape is going to be starting from. That will be like the middle of where the cape is starting from. Now I'll go ahead and pin through this neckline. I'll pin through this front neckline. I won't be pinning this to the end. I'll be stopping right at this straight line here. So just go ahead and watch and see where I am stopping. You can go ahead and make a notch at where you'll be stopping, or using your chalk to mark out where you'll be stopping. So from the shoulder, I came down by 6 inches when I was cutting. So that will be the point I will stop pinning this cape on. So once I get to that point, I'll go ahead and stop pinning, and I'll come back to this center. From this center, I'll pin through the back, and I'll be stopping at the zip allowance. That is before I get to the zip allowance, just like 1 inch or half an inch away from the zip allowance. Now, as you can see, this is what I have after pinning. As you can see, this is where I stopped, directly at that straight part of the neckline. Now, after pinning through, I'll be working on the other parts of my cape. So I won't be leaving these rough edges. I'll just go ahead and turn it this way that I'm showing you. So this part that I had already pinned, I'll take out the pin for me to be able to like turn this out neatly. So at that point where I stopped pinning, I'll just make a notch there so that I'll be able to know where to stop. So just make a notch here, take out one more pin, so I'll be able to like take this to my sewing machine to turn. So from that notch, this notch will now serve as a guide to like finish up this nicely, so that I won't be having rough edges on my cape. So this is how I'll be doing for the other side of the back. I'll do the same thing that I did here, just to have a neat finishing. This is what I have after turning and ironing. This is what I have. Now I'll go ahead and put back the pins in. As you can see, it is looking really neat. So next thing I'll be doing is to be cutting a facing for this neckline, because we want to have a neat neckline at the end of everything. So we'll be cutting a facing for this. Now for the facing, I've gone ahead to fold a piece of fabric this way. So for this, I struggled to because the cape was already on the dress, it was a whole lot of struggle. So just go ahead and remove the cape.
or you just have to cut the facing before adding this cape. So I did remove the cape of my dress, the cape on the dress, before cutting out the facing. So I just went ahead to place the shoulder on this folded parts here, and I cut the facing till the end of the off shoulder sleeve there. So just go ahead and cut out the facing, and let me just cut it out and I'll bring it back.
So this is the facing after cutting out. You can just go ahead and start pinning the cape down. So just go ahead and pin down the cape all round. Then you can now use the facing to turn this. Now you can decide to stitch on the cape first on the neckline before placing the facing to like turn it over. So whichever one that works for you. But for mine, I pinned the facing round and I did stitch all three pieces together. So do the one that works best for you. Now remember that the cape is not going to get to the zipper point. It should be stopping 1 inch or half an inch away from the zipper. So after pinning down, just go ahead and take it to your machine, stitch it down. After stitching, you're just going to make notches all around the neckline so that it's going to relax. Then you'll be ironing it on the ironing table. So guys, this is what I have after fixing the cape and ironing. This is what I have. So the rest of the facing, you're going to be weaving and you're going to be placing hemming gum where you need to place hemming gum so that you can hold the facing down to the dress. So this is what it looks like. This is how the back looks like. So just go ahead and hem down the facing and you'll be fixing the zipper. After fixing the zipper, the last thing we'll be doing to this dress, okay, I've also hemmed the sleeve. So the last thing we'll be doing on this dress is to be fixing the gathers at the lower part. So I had this fabric cut out. I have 3.5 yards here because I want these gathers to be that full. So I have 3.5 yards here. Now for the length of the gathers, what I did was to take out the half length that I am working with. The half length is 15 inches, and I also came down by 5 inches, that is before the basque, which is now a total of 20 inches. So I just took out 20 inches from the full gown length. The full gown length is about 56 inches. So after taking out 20 inches from 56, I have 36. So I just added my folding allowance, and that was how I got the length for the gathers. So I'll just go ahead and make this notch right here at the middle of this dress, and I'll just fix the gathers. You can just run gather stitches on this fabric and just gather it to fit into this place now, and that is just basically all for this dress. So thank you so much guys for watching. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Please, if you've not done that, please just go ahead and hit on the like button, subscribe, and share to your friends and soulmates. Thank you so much guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.